So we met with the leaders 2 or 3 times, and what we've done is we've decided to make some serious changes. I sent you an email on that, those changes. You have a flyer there on the table if you'd like to take a look at that flyer. There's enough there for our guests as well. But kudos to the people of E4E. When we decided that we were going to make these changes, it was really kind of hard to know whether we would get people who would step in and take responsibilities. And the major change that you'll see there is the location change that's effective in July. And we'll be communicating that to people as we go. We'll talk more about this later on today. But I'm pretty excited. I think the idea of expanding to 2 markets from 1 will be a step in the right direction. I've long thought about how could we do something downtown, and there's a lot of changes that are going on downtown. I know people like Brian and Tom can attest to that. So this will allow us to have 2 locations rather than 1. We also changed the subscriber so that for people who only want to subscribe, that's a second handout there. People who only want to subscribe for 6 months. Let's say I work downtown, I really don't want to be a subscriber, so they only have to subscribe for 6 months rather than for a year. So we changed the subscriber formula for them. Okay, so number of changes, and I'll just be real brief about this. Cynthia is now driving the program. She's already put together the programs for the 3rd quarter. Those of you who are involved know that you're involved. That's a big thank you. Appreciate you stepping in for that. Cynthia's also working with Will. They'll be driving Meetup and what happens on Meetup. So if you have any questions about that. Mark Breimer will be in charge of the Bring a Friend campaign, right? And Mark, you said one thing, Bring a Friend in the... Yeah. So Mark will be driving the Bring a Friend campaign. Karen Fox and Glenda will be working with Mark to keep track of our participants. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I know you guys might be able to figure out a better way to automate that, but right now it requires some individual things that go on. So Karen's going to be responsible for the meetup information, and Glenda will work with Mark to keep track of the guests as we go down the road. Andy's going to be our subscriber guru. He got that assignment while he was on his way back from Texas. Were you coming back from? So he really doesn't know what he's doing yet, but you just talk with Cynthia about it. Yeah, she'll get that change with you. Yeah. So let's see what else. Kathy's going to be managing our finances. She pretty much was doing most of the work anyhow. I was just writing the checks and collecting the money. And so Kathy's going to be writing the checks and collecting the money and the other stuff. So did I leave anything out that you guys can think of, any of the important roles in the change? I think that's pretty much it. But kudos to everybody for stepping up. And I'll still kind of try to oversee things during this transition to make sure that nothing falls between the cracks. Dale?
Yeah, so if Mark is in charge of the guests, so if we are bringing guests, we need to notify.
Just notify Mark. Okay. Yeah, just send it and put that notation in the yes.
You might want to mention Tom is going to be with the CIC.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. It's just gonna thank you. Yeah, that's okay. So those are the major changes. So. When we first started thinking about making this change, one of the things we wanted to do was to get to a location that didn't cost money. Meadowbrook's pretty expensive, and so we're moving to 2 locations that are not going to charge us. One of those is Brian's Bank. He stepped up and was able to get that done, and Tom was able to get CIC that is willing to take us in at no expense. So this has a huge improvement in the way our cost structure is. So we're constantly driving down costs. Tom, do you want to come on up and tell the group a little bit about the online strategy, which is kind of unfolding. And so this is part of what I wanted everybody to hear.
Good morning, everyone. I'll mention also, for those of you who have not been down to the Cortex District, down to CIC, I encourage you to be there. It's going to expose us to a new audience, a new community. It's arguably the hottest, most vibrant small business community in the city, if not in the region. So Thursday afternoons, they have a networking event called Venture Cafe. Thursday from 3 to 8 p.m. at 4240 Duncan. I encourage all of you to come down there. That's the building at which we'll have these events. As far as our online strategy goes, you know, the impetus for some of these changes was cost control, and clearly we want to operate at break even or better here for all of us as partners, for Bill's sake, and so forth. But the conversation has been that doesn't mean that we need to contract what we're doing. That doesn't mean that E4E is shrinking, either on the event side, where we're actually building something we think bigger and better, or on the online side. So what I am going to be spearheading with help from a lot of people in this room is fundamentally an expansion of our presence online, where you're going to see more content posted on a more regular basis. You're going to see more emails, shorter emails, that are promoting the expertise of all of you, promoting the contributors, short sort of text-based emails. Hey, here's a tip, here's an idea, there's more about this on the website. More connection to social media with the content that we're doing. And ultimately that's to be done for a few reasons. One is in providing that expanded online content, we are doing a better job of promoting the events, and we want more people at these events. We want more people subscribing to the ticket packages that we are offering. But we also want to create maximum value for the online product standing alone. We want E4E and the E4E community to exist 24/7, and for the promise of the E4E community website, for which we charge $250 if you don't want to be coming to the events. We want the promise of that community to be realized. I think any of you who have spent time looking at the videos, reading the articles, checking out the blog, kind of recognize how much value there is. Part of the strategy now is to remind people of that on a more constant basis and to give people more encouragement to go check that out on a more regular basis. If we do that, we think we're going to have a stickier product, we think we'll have more subscribers, we think subscribers will renew, and we think that E4E is going to grow. In the short run, our goal is to do that without increasing our cost structure. In fact, we're going to find ways to do that while reducing our cost structure and breaking even. So.
Any questions for Tom before? I mean, you see our strategy. Thank you, Tom. As you can see, our strategy is not to take a step back, but to take a step forward, right? And that's the whole thing, is perception becomes reality. So if people perceive that, oh, E4E is taking a step back and it's not as important, then that will become a reality. So we want it to become a step forward, not a step backwards. Any other questions that you might have today? And just like everything else we do at E4E, in the entrepreneurial spirit, we know this isn't perfect, right? It's a change. It's going to be a big change. And over time, we'll continue to fine-tune it and make it even better. But I appreciate your support in the meantime. So any other questions? Everybody good? Okay.